You are still watching the Happy Business Morning, and this is the Eastern Business Report, which is designed to bring you up to speed on business activities and policies as well, affecting businesses and the economy of the southeastern region of Nigeria. It comes right after Global Business on the Happy Business Morning, and on today's edition of the Eastern Business Report, we'll be looking at the Enugu 100 billion naira deal, which of course is a plan to revive the Moribund oil palm industry, which is underway as it were. And the question really that comes to mind is, will this significantly impact the economy of Enugu, Nigeria? Oh well, let's look at something. Now, the Enugu state government has signed a 100 billion naira deal with Pragmatic Palms Limited to resuscitate the Moribund United Palm Products Limited in Enugu State, Nigeria. United Palms Products Limited was set up by the state government to plant palm trees and engage in production of palm products such as palm oil and kernel, among others. The firm is an offshoot of the now defunct Agricultural Development Corporation, which was established in 1970 by the then Eastern Region government led by the then Premier Michael Okpara. However, the United Palm Products Limited has remained moribund as efforts by successive administrations in the state to revive it is pretty much unsuccessful. These issues and more will form the basis of our conversation this morning. My name is Ubong Kings. Welcome. All right, very quickly, we're going to get to look at these issues in different ways. But before we begin this conversation, let me bring you up to speed on this development, which of course was reported by IFA TV some time ago. Let's take a look at this particular reportage as it happened live, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. Please stay.
The United Palm Products Limited (UPPL), established in 1970 on a 6,700 hectares of land, connects 5 communities. Governor Peter Mba, in his quest to revive moribund assets in the state, took a firm decision to invest in UPPL in collaboration with Pragmatic Palm Limited in order to boost the economy of the state and assured investors of an enabling environment for investment.
Recall that a few months ago, when we announced an investment of 100 billion in partnership with Pragmatic Palms Limited, that news was greeted with a lot of cynicism and doubts. We are getting closer to our dream to transform Enugu State as the premier destination for investment, industry, tourism, business, and living. We knew the value and the significance of this investment, not just the economic benefits, but also the social benefits, the employment that it will generate, the wealth that it will create for the local community.
Commissioner for Trade and Investment, Adora Chukwu, and Commissioner for Agriculture, Patrick Uburu, says this project is to harness its potential across West Africa and the world through exportation.
The revitalization of EUPPL will not only scale oil palm production, it will provide immense benefit to the people of Enugu State, such as creation of employment of opportunities, economic diversification, infrastructure development, revenue generation, technology development and innovation, and reduced customer cost.
The prestigious University of Nigeria was built on the very foundation of oil palm production, a reminder of the prosperity that this industry once brought to our people. As a key player in the agricultural landscape of Nigeria, it is an important opportunity for us to harness our resources, engage the youth, and bring innovation into the agro-industrial sector.
CEO Pragmatic Palm Products Limited, PPL, Professor George Wangu, gave a timeline for aggressive plan to be integrated into the Enugu United Palm Products Limited in order to reach its peak.
We have 6,700 hectares of oil palm estates. We intend to grow that to 20,000 within 5 years. We propose to list this company on the stock exchange so that the communities and the people of Enugu State can own a part of this outfit.
Other stakeholders say that the project will draw huge attention to Enugu and the southeast, as one of them offered 50 million naira to the state government in support of the projects in Ibitolo community.
The Enugu state of almost 1 year plus now is even bigger and more than the Enugu of 8 years ago. So talking about Enugu in the next 5 years and see a lighter and brighter Enugu state. The governor has done well within the space of 1 year. So talking about 5 years to come, Enugu will win a new role that even investors from any part of the world will be eager to come and invest without having any doubt if his investment will be safe.
The only way out for us today is for everyone to go back to farm so that we can produce at least what we eat, and then we can sell out to the outside world and make money. So farming is the only way out for the people.
Traditional rulers present and the host communities of UPPL thanked the governor for looking into this project and request that roads leading to the projects be given attention. Highlight is planting of the palm by Governor Peter Mba.
Formally break the ground and flag off the Enugu United Palm Products Limited oil palm plantation for the benefit of the people of Enugu State and mankind in general, and to the glory of God.
In Enugu, Chidimma Mado for Afia TV.
Thank you, Chidima. Now let's get to this issue right now. And one of the things that I want to ask you, what are your thoughts? Basically, what do you think about this? Now, first of all, it was the asphalt plant. Now, is a revitalization of a Moribund palm oil company. Now, would you think in terms of this is one too many projects or what? Now, for sake of emphasis, this deal, which was signed by the Enugu state government, will enable the Pragmatic Palms Limited to take over the Moribund palm company temporarily. Now, underline that. Now, do you think this should be the case? Should it be a temporal thing? Or because a lot of persons are of the opinion that the government should not be in the business of business. You know what I'm saying? So because if it's taking care of it, if this company, and I'm talking about Pragmatic Palms Limited, is to take over on a temporal basis, who do they hand over to? Government, isn't it? And that's the argument. The argument is government should not be in the business of doing business. However, another point, case in point, is that Governor Peter Mba of Enugu State said that the move was in line with his administration's determination to grow the state's economy from $4.4 billion to $30 billion. The question that comes is, how true, how feasible is this? Now, before we get into all of that, I'm reminded of an article I saw on Nairametrics quite recently that said, according to the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, NIQS, as of 2021, Nigeria, the country, had 56,000 abandoned projects with an estimated cost of 12 trillion naira by either the federal government or by different state governments. And interestingly too, I'm interested to know that successive governments in Nigeria have over the years, let's face reality, have over the years become synonymous with moribund infrastructure. Now you see why there's a lot of apprehension when it comes to that word moribund. I'm also interested to know that the reason for this situation is not far-fetched, as they are mostly riddled with corruption, restricted by poor funding. I think the issue is really corruption anyway, and the change of government, among others. Now, despite all of this, now the moribund nature has become a normal thing. So now you understand the apprehension of quite a number of persons, and Mr. Governor did say something quite recently. I'm going to quote his words exactly during that period of this project. He said that clearly it is supposed to engender, number one, actualization of the $30 billion revenue for the state. But then it may interest you to also know that sadly enough, quite a number of persons differ on that grounds. This, despite the moribund nature of quite a number of Nigerian assets, some have continued to cost the country billions of naira, in addition to promises to start functioning and contributing to the economy. And these infrastructures have continued to cost the country money despite their moribund nature. I'm not saying anything particular, I'm just laying the facts on the table. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to be looking at this issue a lot more directly. Now, the question really is, why does it always seem as if in Nigeria we always have a tendency to tilt towards reviving what is already dead? Why not start something different? Why try to revive something that's already dead? We'll look at all that after this break. Please stay. You're welcome back, and we're still looking at the Enugu 100 billion naira deal. Which of course has the plans to revive Moribund palm oil company, which is underway at the moment. But just before the break, I was looking at the issues with moribund facilities in Nigeria and how they almost never reawaken. We're going to be continuing this conversation. Pretty much this reminds me of the Ajaokuta Steel project, where the Ajaokuta Steel basically is a company that is located in Kogi State, and it was incorporated in 1979, by the way, in case you didn't know. This infrastructure was expected to boost Nigeria's economy and also provide employment for its people. However, now, despite its nearing completion at the point, it has now become exactly moribund. At one point, there was an attempt to resuscitate the company, but it failed woefully just before the federal government took over again. Now, this steel company has gobbled $10 billion from the country since its creation to get working, but the country has continued to import steel products. According to the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, NBS, Nigeria imported an approximate of 837.761 billion naira worth of steel in the third quarter and fourth quarter of 2021. Now, interestingly too, it may interest you to know by reference, in 2020 specifically, the Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Olamilekan Adegbite, announced that $1.45 billion will be spent on the Ajaokuta Steel Company to make it work. But fast forward to today, how far with that project? Now, bringing it back home, we already have, it's clear that Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu State said that this move of having this palm oil processing plant in the state revived. Also, he said it was in line with his administration's determination to grow the state's economy from $4.4 billion to $30 billion. Well, the truth is, sadly, a lot of Enugu residents are not too comfy with that line of his administration's determination to grow the state's economy from $4.4 billion to $30 billion. You know why? I'll tell you why. It just looks like tax all the way. Little wonder when former Labour Party gubernatorial candidate in Enugu State called out the governor in an open letter quite recently, with reference to the tax policy approach to generate revenue. Just saying what is on paper. You may want to verify this yourself. I'm also reminded, still talking about this, I'm also reminded of the words of the Enugu State Commissioner for Trade, Investment and Industry, Adara Chukwu. She said that this partnership was in line with the state government's administration's plan to revive non-operational assets in the state. Question again, non-operational assets? This race doesn't go down well with quite a number of Nigerians, taking into consideration the Port Harcourt refinery, Kaduna refinery, other refineries that today, nothing and of course the Ajaokuta steel plant. Now, do we need to revive Moribund facilities? How about building new ones? Seriously, what about that? Is that not part of the plan? Is that supposed to be part of the plan? Really? What benefits can this bring to Enugu? I agree, quite a number. First and foremost, first thing you see is job availability. Yes, the whole value chain of palm production, it's packed with job opportunities. I agree totally. As a matter of fact, that's one industry that from the beginning stage to the end stage of processing, there's money to be made, number one. Number two, there are people to be employed. Beautiful stuff, I agree. But the question here really is the question of sustainability. This has been brought up because if we look at it critically, one of the things that was said initially at the start of this conversation was the company who is handling this project will be doing this on a temporal basis, meaning they'll be handing it over. Now the question really is handing over to who exactly? The government or to another private entity? That is the question. Because I'm going to try to read verbatim what was said. It was said that this deal, which was signed by the Enugu state government, will enable Pragmatic Palms Limited to take over the Moribund Palm Company temporarily for a period of time. So what happens after that period of time and their contract expires? Do we go back to ground zero? Does there a sustainability plan already that we have no idea? Because quite frankly, this story is not quite complete because details of this has not been revealed to the public just yet. I mean, maybe there are specific reasons why it hasn't been, but truth of the matter is, details of this has not been revealed just yet. So hopefully there is a plan for another company to take over, maybe, or the state government to take over. But what is the guarantee that if the state government takes over, that this would work effectively and optimally, taking into consideration the fact that eventually this sitting government will give room for another government eventually? What is the guarantee that the government that comes after it would actually toe the same path and have the same drive and push as this present government? Oh well, only time, they say, will tell. This is the Saturday Package today on the Eastern Business Report. If you want to get to our dedicated Afia Business YouTube channel, drop up a comment or two, join in the conversation by typing in the search bar www.youtube.com/@Afia Business. And while you're there, do hit the like button and of course subscribe so you get notifications on all business related content coming to you from Afia TV. You're still watching the Afia Business Morning live from Enugu State, Nigeria. Coming up next is Afia. My name is Ubon Kings. Please stay.